Okay, today we're going to talk about while loops for a bit. Try to make this tutorial as fast as I can so that it doesn't take too much of your time, and you can always watch it over and over again if you'd like. So we have two data types in front of us. We have a list and a string, and I want to loop through. I want to do something just as simple for now as printing each value in these data types. So let's look at while loops first. So I want to loop through each item in this. Let's try the list first and print it out to the screen with a while loop. So I'm going to need to have a counter. So I'm going to give myself a counter, and I'm going to set it to 0. And then I'm going to say while counter is less than the length of my list, print my list sub counter, and then I'm going to increment my counter. So let's look at this real quick before we run it. So we have these data types right here, right? So we have my list equals Bob, Charlie, Frank, da da da. We have my long string. We're not even using string right now. We're just using the list. Then I have a counter, which is just an integer that I'm setting to 0 at first. And then I start a while loop. Now the while loop is cool because you get to do stuff with a conditional statement. So while this is less than this, the length of my list, then do the stuff inside of my while loop. And it'll just keep doing it while that statement is true. So the first time through, the length of my list is 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 items in my list. So really, the computer, first thing the computer does is replace that with 7. And then it replaces this with 0. And then it says, while 0 is less than 7, the first time through, this is what it does. At that moment in time, counter is 0, and the length of my list is 7, so it's saying, while 0 is less than 7, do this the first time. So it'll run through the first time, it'll say print my list sub 0, right? And then it'll say counter equals 0 plus 1. So at this moment, counter becomes 1, and then it jumps up to the top again and says, okay, now while 1 is less than 7, and it runs one more time because we know that 1 is less than 7. So I hope that makes sense on how that all works. Let's go ahead and put a print statement here at the bottom. I got out of the loop, just to clarify and validate that we got out of that. So let's run the module and see what happens. Bob, Charlie, Frank, Sally, and we made it all the way through. We got the last element in the list. That's great. And then we printed our out of loop test statement. Okay, so that's while loops. I encourage you to go play with it.